an act of rebellion. And that sounds like an act of rebellion. I don't know if I really want to rebel, but you have to rebel from the way of the world. You have to have an act of rebellion to be able to not allow yourself to get caught up into the way of the world and how things are being in this world. As we were talking about last week, that you can pick up a newspaper, you already know what's going to be in the newspaper, who died. You already know that something had happened to somebody, and you know that people are dying and people are sick, and there is the crisis of economics. You already know what's in there. It's every day. It's an everyday thing. But as we step into being a spiritual warrior, we can stand at the gate of that and not allow that to penetrate us by recognizing that that's not in my world. That may be in your world, but that's not in my world. Because in my world, everything is already available. There is no lack, you see, because the apple trees are still producing apples, aren't they? The avocado trees are still growing some avocados regardless of what the papers say, regardless of what the news say, regardless of whatever it is that the way of the world trend is happening. Your oranges are still growing oranges. You see? And so there can never be any lack in the universe because God is abundant. It is the abundance that is ever creating itself. It can never be lacking nowhere. So to the degree that we accept what the way of the world is, we have to be a spiritual warrior and not allow the way of the world consciousness, if you will, to overtake our way of being. And so it is important to be a spiritual warrior, to rebel against the way of the world, to have an act of rebellion and allow yourself to have this dignity, if you will, to be a fine spiritual warrior. And in order for us to be this wonderful spiritual warrior, we have to be clear about what God is. That's what I love about this particular, if you will, teaching. Is because this teaching does not tell us that we have to try to be like someone or something. But what it does is tells us that we are the essence, that the kingdom of heaven does live within, that we are the light of the world, and that the joy and the evidence of God is ever revealing itself through us, by means of us. And if we can, if you will, be spiritual warriors and stand at the gate, the door of our consciousness, we will see a transformation. We will be able to see that something magnificent begins to transform in our experience because we're transforming our consciousness. Hello? And it is from this place that we want to live. We want to allow our, if you will, consciousness to be this sacred place of called truth.